Well, a very good evening once again and welcome to Kivumbi 2022. This indeed is our last day right here in the capital of Kisumu, coming live for you from the Tom Mboya Labour College. And once more, we are very grateful for the management for hosting us in the last 3 days. Now tonight, we have two shows for the price of one. Now we begin by talking about the battlegrounds in this hour. Now, this region has about 6 counties. Out of the 6 counties, we have governors who are leaving after completing their 10-year term. We have governors who are first-time governors, and definitely these governors will be contesting once more to capture or recapture their seats. And of course, there are new entrants. There's a lot of political dynamics down here in the Nyanza region, especially the fact that this is Raila Odinga's stronghold, and there are dominant parties that have participated in the last election. Of course, there are fringe and small parties who are also trying to get their own space. So tonight we talk all about that. I'll be speaking to 3 gentlemen during this hour. Alphonse Owiti is a social scientist. He knows 1 or 2 things about what we talk about when we talk about opinion polls and everything, and how favorable candidates are in a particular region. And tonight, even as we talk about the battle zone, one of the things that we are trying to talk about is the fallout, potential fallouts from this nomination exercise that is about to take place. Already in Homa Bay, which was touted as battleground, has a candidate withdrawing from that race. We also speak to Advocate Joshua Nyamori. He is on the panel tonight, not only as an advocate, but also as a political analyst, so he'll help us with the discussion. And we have a scholar also on the panel tonight, Tom Mboya. He's a political analyst, also speaks to us tonight, but he's a lecturer at the Maseno University in Yala. So he joins us tonight later on at 10 p.m., straight after the live newscast. We'll be speaking about devolution, if it's worked, if it's not worked, and if it's time that we rethought about devolution. So to help us with that discussion are 2 governors, Amos Nyaribo from Nyamira County, and of course our host governor, County 043, Professor Peter Anyang-Nyong'o. They'll be joining me at 10. But gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight. And I guess I have to begin with the latest development, because tonight we're talking about battleground, but we have to talk about the reason why we have seen Alphonse, for example, what happened in Homa Bay this afternoon. Why would someone who was later Saturday withdraw from a race? There was a declaration in Dewa constituency over the weekend, and then this afternoon we understand ODM party leader and one of the strongest governor contender for Homa Bay County has just withdrawn. What will inform some of these moves?
Okay, thank you, Bwana Ken. And from my perspective, I think politics is about perception. You remember that Homa Bay County is one of the battleground counties. Actually, if you see the frontrunners in that area, one who has really been on the limelight is Madam Gladys Wanga. And even her involvement in the campaigns for Azimio La Umoja, and even her launch as governor was really enhanced at national level. And that is something that you cannot run away from. So the perception that has also been created on the ground is that this is one of a candidate that is strong, and even what she has done in terms of she used actually the platform to really expound on what she has done to the Homa Bay County as even as women rep. But even if you look at the other candidates, you have Dr. Kidero and Oyugi Magwanga. Actually, Oyugi Magwanga is also one person who also has a very good track record, even in terms of development. And in terms of the battle, I'm seeing the battle could be around those two people, Gladys Wanga and Oyugi.
Not even Dr. Evans Kidero.
Yeah, Dr. Evans Kidero I have my doubts in terms of perceptions that have been created out there, in terms of what happened in Nairobi and even how Nairobi was managed. So that is my view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Boya, we are grateful we are in a hall named after you. Sorry, the institution that has been named after you. So you know one or two things about revolutions. But from your perspective, we have battlegrounds and the war that has been declared. The line is so clear. Talk to us about, one, the perception that there are battlegrounds, and secondly, how these battlegrounds are going to pan out, noting that something is already happening on the ground. There's a lot of compromises also to avoid potential fallout.
Thank you, Ken, for having me on board, and particularly to address this pertinent issue as it unfolds. Let us ask ourselves this pertinent question before we go to the battleground and so forth. This time of general elections, we are going to mark 10 years of devolution. And the question that arises, the 6 counties in this region, have the citizens felt the fruits of devolution? I think that is where the starting point.
Okay.
And that then resonates with your earlier question that you posed to my colleague, Alphonse, in respect to Homa Bay. In other words, the question that we political scientists are asking, how can we make politics be responsive to the needs of the citizens? Homa Bay, for instance, which you posed, Mbadi just withdrew from the race. The question is, was he really popular? In respect to, are the Homa Bay residents, constituents, happy with the fruits of devolution since its inception in 2013? That is the pertinent question. And so if you look at the 6 counties, unfortunately, and objectively speaking, there are 2 counties that, objectively speaking, we cannot count for any results of devolution. This is Siaya and Homa Bay. That being the case, that then brings us to this pertinent question as to Homa Bay having the battleground. Yes, it is. In 2017, we had Oyugi Magwenga against the incumbent then, Cyprian Awiti. And you know what happened. And so now, going to 2022, Awiti has served his 2 terms. So what next? We have Evans Kidero. We have Gladys Wanga. And of course, we had ODM chairman John Mbandi. But objectively speaking, again, in respect to the 3 candidates, there are issues that the citizens, the constituents of Homa Bay need to ask. Evans Kidero was Nairobi. Nairobi being hot, the dynamics of Nairobi is different from the dynamics of Homa Bay. It still has credentials and policies, how we can then revamp Homa Bay in terms of devolution. We have Gladys Wanga, as Alphonse alluded to, has made inroads, but the question that the citizens are asking, what does she have for Homa Bay to turn around what the Homa Bay constituents have missed over the 10 years? That one is yes to be hard questions.
Okay.
Magwenga, he vied in 2017. There were controversies, but based on his performance as an MP, again puts him at the highest level as a contender for the seat.
Very interesting indeed. because it's not the only battleground. We'll talk about Kisii, we'll talk about Migori. But even as Joshua, you talk about the battleground and what happened today and why possibly it happened the way it happened. Perhaps paint the picture for us. Out of the 6 counties of this region, from Migori to Homa Bay to Kisii to Nyamira, Kisumu, and Siaya, which counties are having incumbents who are running for a second term? Which counties are having governors exiting? And so it's an open playground.
Okay. Thank you, Ken. I think I start from the point of emphasizing that what makes these counties battlegrounds is a stake. That away from the presidency, the other seat that has so much stake because of the resources that it carries with it is the governorship. And that in the election of 2013, various contenders had not appreciated the amount of power that a governor has. We started seeing much more interest in the 2017 election, and definitely it is more intense now. Now, it is also important to appreciate that these are battlegrounds also because, unlike constituencies, there are so many other factors. For instance, if you come to a county like Kisumu, we have an urbanite population, but also a rural population. We have clan-based dynamics, and then we have age and class dynamics. So all this come into play to bring in, forces that make them battlefields. Now, if you look at the counties, for instance, Siaya has an outgoing governor. Homa Bay has an outgoing governor. Kisumu has a governor running for his second seat. Homa Bay has an outgoing governor. Kisii has an outgoing governor. And therefore, what then you see...
Migori too has an outgoing.
Yeah, Migori has an outgoing governor.
Yeah.
My thoughts are that the trend is that in counties where there are outgoing governors, there are new forces that have emerged, but also the role of the outgoing governor is quite significant. One, because they have resources and structures in their hands, and a number of them have an interest on who succeeds them, for the simple reason that just like in the national politics, they may have certain interests to protect, but they might also want to continue having influence going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true for the fact that we see even the national stage, there is interest from the incumbent, the outgoing president,
yeah,
and trying to manage the succession. So is this something that we are likely to see, Alphonse, and how will it play out? If that was supposed to happen, especially, for example, I'll go away from the region. There was an interest in Kakamega, for example, the governor, the outgoing governor, yes, could have been interested in the deputy he's worked with so well. Yes. Yes, so what kind of influence does it have?
I think outgoing governors, we cannot just wish them away or underlook their influence. The outgoing governors have had a chance to manage the county resources and even have had a chance to even engage with people at their own levels and even initiate certain developments. And one of the things why they would want someone with whom they have good rapport to continue is that they want to see a continuation of even projects that they've been initiated. I had a chance at one point to go to certain counties, and one of the complaints that emerged is that a governor comes in and overlooks what the other, the one who just preceded him, was doing. So they do not want to continue with what the other person was doing. But there's something interesting that also Joshua brought about that maybe also influences how the outgoing governors would want the counties to be ruled. There's usually an unwritten agreement in terms of clan dynamics. Like clanism is one of the issues, actually real issues that affect even the arrangement in terms of who succeeds, how the power arrangement at county leadership plays out. For example, in Kisii, if I was to just delve into Kisii, Ongwae came from Kitutu clan, and Kitutu clan, they had an agreement with Bomachage clan so that the deputy governor comes from there. Mm-hmm. And that is just to ensure that they also galvanize the votes so that they ensure they get the seats. But also, after that, there is just a general feeling that this person who supported you should succeed. And sometimes that is at the detriment of development and other things.
Okay. Tom, same dynamics. How would that play out, the fact that there is that level of control outgoing governors would really wish to exercise, especially on these battlegrounds? Because as he said, Nyamori said it, the biggest thing in these counties is the stakes involved in this, not only the election, but even in the management of those counties.
Thanks, Ken. I think I want to appreciate the sentiments of Nyamori. That question of the influence of the outgoing governors, I think let us be privy to the fact that those outgoing governors, their influence can only be understood from the perspective of whether they performed or not.
Okay.
For those governors, outgoing governors who have performed, they can have influence of either supporting their deputies or bringing someone from outside. I'll give an example of Homa Bay, for instance, where, from my own view, the outgoing governor, because of the track record of 10 years, might not necessarily have a direct influence of who become the new governor. Performance. And that performance also, if they have performed and they want their programs to continue, that they will have an influence. And this, of course, resonates with what you said in respect to the national politics, where the president has decided to support the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for the reason that he wants his programs, his policies to continue. Mm-hmm. But in some counties where we have witnessed dismal performance of these governors, they might not necessarily have direct influence on who becomes the next governor. That is my own take on that pertinent issue. Okay. It has to do with their performance.
Okay. We're taking a break for the commercials break, but Joshua, tell me just in 1 minute, what counties do you think the outgoing governor will have an influence from the top of your head? Out of the 4, which one do you think they will have some influence?
No, I think that the outgoing governors will have influence.
All over?
Yes, and the influence of the governors is not about them as individuals, but the fact that they are in charge of institutions. Mm. Those institutions have, can be, if properly applied on the ground, can be able to mobilize and can be able to apply resources. And I use the word resources very widely. They control vehicles, they control staff, they have money, they have projects that they can go and visit with their candidates and so on and so forth.
Okay, yeah. So they still have their people on the ground. You want to say, I have to take a quick break, but yeah.
Ken, I want to differ with my, my friend Nyamori. Huh? If you have been a governor for 10 years and the cities and the constituents are not seeing anything,
You can't have influence.
You can't have influence. That is my position.
Okay.
Because if you do that, you force them, as Nyamori puts it, that they can have resources, vehicles, move projects. Which project is it? A dam, yet a water pan? I mean, what are you talking about? You talk about a tarmac road, but a Maram road. I mean, those guys won't even, if they're MCAs, if they're MPs, or women reps for that matter. I mean, I want to use this opportunity. How can we make politics be responsive to the needs of the citizens?
All right, gentlemen, stay with me. We're taking a short commercial break because at the top of the hour, my colleague Brenda Zeda Radido will be giving us the latest. Today, the KCP results 2021 were released at the top of the hour, but we take a commercial break. When we come back, the three gentlemen are still here with me. We're going to talk more about some of the counties, specifically the ones that we know the governors are going out, but they've had a very rocky political relationship with the leaders from this region. When we come back, let's take the break. We're back in a moment.